Hello and welcome to my channel. I've gotten a lot of new subscribers lately, so hi if you're new here. My name is Rose Wright and I write and narrate Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction. Thank you guys so much for over 300 subscribers. You guys are the best. Please enjoy Chapter 7 of I Carry Your Heart. Mr. Agreste, what is the difference between a French augmented 6-chord and an Italian augmented 6-chord? Adrien was drifting off in his advanced music theory class. He was exhausted from being Cat Noir, but thoughts of Ladybug and Marinette also preoccupied his mind. He didn't hear the question and continued staring straight ahead. Mr. Agreste! Mr. Agreste! His professor raised her voice even louder. Adrien Agreste! His body shook awake, and he looked at her with a blank expression on his face. This wasn't the first time he had been caught not paying attention. Thank you for joining us, sir. You best have the correct answer, or your grade is going to begin to suffer. He racked his brain, attempting to pull some answer out of thin air, when he felt a small palm on his thigh. It was Marinette, who gently whispered the answer in his ear quietly, so Mrs. Toussaint couldn't hear. The hair on the back of his neck stood on end. Adrien finally piped up. The difference is that while the Italian augmented 6-chord has the augmented 6th and a major 3rd, a French augmented 6-chord has that but also includes a major 2nd. His heartbeat picked up rapidly, hoping Marinette's answer was correct. Mrs. Toussaint's beady eyes peered over her small glasses as she moved closer to Adrien's desk. She scoffed. That is correct. But see to it that you pay attention in my class. Dismissed! She swiftly turned to erase the chalkboard, setting it up for the next class. While his classmates exited the room, he felt the space close in around him as they seemed to be glaring at him. He sank down slightly in his seat until Marinette touched his shoulder. Hey, come on, let's go get some coffee. My treat. Butterflies fluttered in Adrien's stomach as her hand lingered on him. He blinked a few times before responding. Sure. That sounds great. Adrien drew a long sip from his piping hot mug of black coffee. He sighed with contentment, then said, Thanks again for bailing me out in advanced theory. He didn't meet her eyes, gazing deeply into his cup. Marinette put her frappuccino aside as she folded her hands on the table, scrutinizing his face. Yeah, what's with you? This caught his attention. Huh? He nearly choked on his coffee. I mean, I see you in other classes. You just seem out of it, Adrien. Is something going on? She didn't want to seem like she was attacking, but she was worried about him. Over the last few months, Marinette and Adrien had gotten close. They realized they shared many of the same classes, so coffee dates were frequent. He gave a slight smile. He probably could have told her that he was busy being a superhero and, on top of assignments and studying, he was trying to find the elusive hawk moth. But he wasn't quite ready to make that kind of reveal to anyone. The best he could say was this half-truth. I'm fine, Marinette. Promise! I'm just not sleeping well. Marinette got up out of her seat, leaning a few inches from his face. Are you hiding something? Her lips twisted upwards in a grin. Out of reflex, he leaned away from her, his back pressed firmly against the hard metal seat. Are you kidding? I'm the definition of okay. I'm an open book. He chuckled nervously as she backed away, still not completely convinced. But I have fallen behind in advanced theory. Once I slept through class and now I feel like I'm on a completely different planet. He looked down, distraught, the mug still warming his fingers. She let out a small giggle, trying to hide it by sipping on her usual coffee frappuccino. I can take a hint, Agreste. She crossed her thin arms in front of her body. How about we meet at the library later, and I try to help you get caught up? He breathed a sigh of relief. He wasn't the best at asking for help, but he was lucky to have someone like Marinette who was always looking out for him. Marinette, thank you. That would be incredible. I have a piano lesson at 5 today. Could we meet at 6:15? Of course. Sounds perfect. She brushed her hair out of her face. She was wearing her hair down today, which was a rare occasion. but Adrien couldn't help but think about how beautiful she looked. Apparently, his gaze had lingered a bit too long. She twirled a piece of her hair around her finger, looking self-conscious. What? Oh, nothing. I'll see you later. Thanks for the coffee. He stuttered. As he waved goodbye, he bumped into the table, then tripped over his chair. With a beet-red face, he stalked away, hoping he could keep his cool the next time they met. Adrien always enjoyed his piano lessons. He practiced around 4 hours daily, sometimes more depending on the day. It was one part of the day he truly enjoyed. Music was his escape from reality. He had secretly wished he could have been a music maker. But his father would never have approved of such frivolity. His father was a business tycoon. Gabriel Agreste would say, music is a hobby, business is a way of life. Mr. Agreste was basically against anything that wouldn't make a person rich and successful. When Adrien's mother passed, the music seemed to disappear from their lives for such a long time. Emily had taught Adrien to play the piano, but when she was gone, Gabriel couldn't stand the music. He said it was too heartbreaking. So, Adrien stopped playing until he began taking lessons in high school. Adrien approached the large wooden door of his professor's piano studio. A handwritten note was posted on it that read, Dr. Rousseau has canceled all lessons for today. He will email about rescheduling. Sorry for the inconvenience. Dr. R. Huh, okay, Adrien thought. Well, maybe I can drop by Marinette's dorm. I'm sure she won't mind. The only problem is he had no idea where she lived. At that exact moment, like fate, he saw a blonde girl passing him with a violin case draped over her shoulder. Even in 4-inch heels, she was walking quite quickly. Hey, Chloe, wait! Adrien yelled, jogging after her. She stopped in place, not turning, her long locks swishing even after she stopped. It was good to see Chloe. She was a friend from this ritzy private high school they both attended. They now go to the same university, but they never see each other. He ran around to greet her. What's up, Agreste? She crossed her arms, her case moving slightly. She readjusted it so it wouldn't fall. I just had a quick question for you, that's all. He shifted uncomfortably under her narrowed blue eyes. Fine, spit it out. Her agitation grew. Adrien wondered why she was having such an attitude, and then realized that it's probably because they never seemed to get off on the right foot in school. He sighed deeply. Are you friends with Marinette? Adrien chose not to specify. They were both music makers, and he had seen them hanging out other than in class. Her eyes widened slightly, but her shaped eyebrows were still knit together. I guess so. Why? I'm supposed to be meeting her later, and I thought I'd pick her up at her dorm room. Do you know her address? Chloe's eyes flickered with annoyance, but she grabbed a scrap piece of paper from her bag, writing in perfect cursive. Here. She placed the folded piece of paper in his palm. See you hopefully never. She strutted away, leaving Adrien dumbfounded. Whatever I did to upset her, it must have been pretty bad. I don't know if I should ask or not. He continued to stand there for a moment more before opening the paper, which read, 52 Sorbonne Avenue, Dorm 5C. His eyes widened, all other thoughts being pushed away, except for one. This is Ladybug's address. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. I would appreciate it so much. As always, stay miraculous!